Now, let's talk about commodities now. It's a hot topic. We saw metal prices jumping more than 70% so far this year, which has prompted Merrill Lynch and also Standard Bank to predict more mining acquisitions on the way. Takeovers are already up almost 20%. That's a quarter-on-quarter number. That includes investments by Canada's Eldorado Gold and China's Yanzhou Coal. And one area attracting increasing interest is uranium, which is used as a fuel in nuclear reactors and power plants. It's tipped as an alternative to fossil fuels such as oil and gas. And Australian uranium producer Paladin Energy raised almost $400 million this week to fund acquisitions and exploration activities. The company owns mines and projects in Africa and Australia. Another name for you is Australia's Extract Resources. This company is planning a uranium project in Namibia. And it said back in July that it's received interest from a number of parties who are keen to invest in this project. Now, you might want to check this out because the stock has really shot up this year, up more than 600% so far in 2009. The best performer on Australia's benchmark ASX 200 index. And the company's managing director, Peter McIntyre, joins us for more from the company's offices in Perth, Western Australia. Peter, welcome to the program. Let's first talk about investment M&A activity, Peter. Let me just ask you, what is the status of investment interest in your company?
Extract Resources is in a rather unique position. It's an ASX-listed company. Three of our major shareholders, the top three shareholders, in fact, hold about 65% of the company. One of those shareholders being Rio Tinto, who has a holding of 15% in the company. So they essentially came in about 12 months ago and formed a bit of a foundation for the company going forward, particularly through the commencement of the global financial crisis that we've seen. So it was a good endorsement for Extract Resources because Rio Tinto's project is in fact only 5 kilometres from our major discovery at Rossing South in Namibia.
Well, let's talk about the company's debt load at this point, free of debt, really. So let's talk about funding options. Would you most inclined to maybe go towards loans, bond offerings, sale of new stock or existing stock to investors? What's the plan?
The plan is currently we're in the middle of a feasibility study, and that'll be completed around May next year, in which stage we enter the major project financing phase. The company did announce about a week ago, in fact, that we are in the process of completing a $90 million, that's Australian dollar, fully underwritten financing, and that'll be completed in a fairly short period of time. So those funds that'll put us well over $100 million Australian, and that is more than sufficient to take us through to the major project development phase, after which we'll be looking at a combination of debt and equity to finance the development of the project.
Now, Peter, you mentioned Rio Tinto is one of your shareholders owning 15% in Extract Resources. What about the other holders, such as Kalahari, etc.? How do they feel about more fundraising activities? What are their preferences?
Look, they've been very supportive of Extract up until date, and they'll certainly be taking up their rights with respect to the current financing. In fact, the top three shareholders will be underwriting any shortfall associated with the rights issue. So there's three shareholders being Rio Kalahari Minerals, who's listed on the London Stock Exchange, and Polo Resources, who is also listed on the London Stock Exchange. So all of those have certainly endorsed the financing through one, they're taking up their rights, and two, they're positioned to underwrite any shortfall in the rights issue.
Okay, Peter, one more question for you. We started off this interview talking about the major rise in your share price this year, up 600%, more than 10% this year. Your stock is trading at more than 2,000 times book for this year so far. What do you think is fair value for your stock price? Is this it?
Well, I mean, fair value is really associated with the project that we've discovered. We've been very fortunate. The discovery of Rossing South has really catapulted the company up into the big league of the uranium world. And I mean, there's a number of comparisons that we can draw between ourselves and the other, rather than go into too much detail and what we think our value is relative to others. You know, all I can say is that the Rossing South uranium discovery is the largest discovery in the world in decades. And in the space of 18 months, it's already positioned as the seventh largest uranium deposit in the world. And I'm very confident that within 12 months, will be probably the largest pure uranium resource in the world, and moving into a development situation, which would see Ross himself.
It's been great talking to you. Thank you for that. Peter McIntyre of Extract Resources joining us on the line from Western Australia.